Ready to go down the rabbit hole. Today we're diving into The Matrix.
Ah, The Matrix.
Even if you haven't seen it, you know it. It's iconic. But why? What makes it so special even 25 years later? That's what we're here to unpack.
It really is fascinating. The Matrix wasn't just a film. It was a whole cultural phenomenon. In '99, people just weren't ready for that kind of blend of action and philosophy. It was groundbreaking.
So for anyone who hasn't caught a late night showing, what is The Matrix all about?
It's about the very nature of reality, the idea that what we perceive as real, our everyday life, could actually be a complex computer simulation. And who's controlling it? Machines.
Classic man versus machine story, but with a philosophical twist.
Exactly. And then there's bullet time.
Oh man, bullet time. That totally changed action movies forever.
It really was a game changer visually. They use this whole array of cameras, all still cameras, to create that frozen moment while the camera moves through the scene. It was revolutionary. And we see its influence everywhere now.
It's like you get to experience a whole other level of perception.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just the technology, though.
Yeah.
It's how bullet time plays into how the Wachowskis wanted to show action. They brought in elements of Hong Kong action, that stylized fighting mixed with those big Hollywood-style effects. The visuals were a huge part of it.
It's like they said, okay, here are the rules of action movies, and then chucked in some wire fu and went, hold my sunglasses.
Yeah.
But let's be real, there's more to The Matrix than just cool fight scenes, right? It tapped into that whole cyberpunk thing that was getting big around then.
Oh, absolutely. Cyberpunk, for anyone unfamiliar, is all about these dystopian futures, right?
Yeah.
Where technology, especially computers and the internet, have totally changed society.
Yeah.
And often not for the better. And The Matrix really brought that to life visually.
Totally. It's like the contrast between the Matrix itself, that digital world with all the sleek lines and green code, and then the grittiness of the real world outside it. It was stark.
It was. And that visual storytelling, it wasn't just for The Matrix. Even the real world, it was designed to feel almost hopeless, which made that choice accepting that grim reality or fighting for something even more significant for the characters.
And speaking of significant, can we talk about the big question The Matrix throws at you? Are we living in a simulation? It's a mind bender.
It is. And whether you take that literally or not, you're forced to think about what's real, what reality even is. It's like what philosophers have been debating for ages, like Plato's allegory of the cave. The Matrix just put a late 20th century spin on it.
And people are still talking about it, right? I mean, even someone like Elon Musk is out there wondering if we're all just characters in some advanced civilization's video game.
It's true. And I think it speaks to a very real modern anxiety about how fast technology is moving, that fear that we're losing control, that there are these forces we don't understand that might even be controlling how we see the world. It's unsettling.
Right. So we've got incredible action, a look that's still instantly recognizable, and enough philosophy to fuel a whole semester of late-night debates. But there's more, isn't there? The Matrix also really delved into the whole hacker subculture, which was blowing up back then.
Oh, for sure. Don't forget, this is the late 90s. The internet was still pretty new for most people.
Yeah.
The Matrix really captured both the exciting, liberating possibilities of technology, but also the potential dangers.
It was like this glimpse into a secret world, right? Where information was power and only a select few had the skills to use it to manipulate the system from the inside.
And that's Neo's whole journey, right? He starts as this hacker, questioning everything, and eventually he becomes this symbol of resistance, someone who can actually bend the rules.
And that whole idea that there's this digital underground, this group of rebels fighting against a powerful system that's trying to control them, it really resonated with people who felt like outsiders, people who didn't fit in.
You're right. And it's interesting you say that because The Matrix was hugely popular with the LGBTQ plus community, for example. I think those themes of breaking free from a false reality, of defining your own identity when the world's trying to define it for you, that really spoke to people who felt marginalized.
That's so interesting. For a movie about virtual reality, The Matrix sure tapped into some very real human anxieties and aspirations.
Absolutely. Maybe that's why it still resonates with us today. It works on so many levels. There's something for everyone. But at the same time, it makes you question what you know. What you think you know about the world. It's what makes The Matrix so powerful, don't you think? It takes those anxieties we have about the real world and throws them up on the big screen. But it's thrilling at the same time.
Absolutely. We were just talking about the whole fear of technology back then, right? The Matrix just took that fear and amplified it. This world where technology is literally in control, it still freaks me out.
And it might be closer to reality than we'd like to admit. I mean, back in '99, yeah, the idea of machines being sentient,
Whoa.
enslaving humans, that was pure sci-fi.
Right.
But now, with AI doing what it's doing, even the experts are wondering.
Like the Wachowskis were tapping into something bigger, this whole question of where technology is going,
Oh, yeah.
our relationship to it. But it's not just the scary stuff, right? The Matrix was cool. Seriously cool. It made philosophy cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can't deny that. The Matrix was everywhere. And that coolness, that style, that was a big part of it. I mean, remember right after it came out, everyone wanted to be Neo.
Oh, tell me about it. Those sunglasses. I bet I walked into my fair share of walls trying to perfect that whole, like, Neo walk.
Haha. But it was more than just looking cool. Those clothes, they meant something. The black, the minimalism, it was about rebellion, not conforming, questioning everything.
Yeah, it's like fashion became this language, right? But those complex ideas we were talking about earlier, the whole Plato's cave thing, do you think people really got that, or was it more about the action and how amazing it looked?
I think that's what makes a piece of art great, honestly. That it can work on different levels. Some people, sure, they're there for the effects, the fights. Others, they're digging into the philosophy, the whole free will versus destiny thing. And then there are those, probably a lot of them, who are somewhere in between. They're along for the ride, but they're thinking too.
Yeah, it's like sneaking veggies into a smoothie. You're entertained and you just might learn something. But speaking of sneaky, back to that digital underground idea for a sec. Neo's a hacker, right? And in the late 90s, early 2000s, that was a big deal.
Totally. I mean, the internet was changing everything back then. The whole world was changing.
Yeah.
And the Matrix just captured that. The good and the bad. All that potential.
It was like that fear a lot of people had that maybe a few people were going to control it all, this digital world, and the rest of us would be, I don't know, left behind or something.
It's interesting because in the real world, you had hacker culture blowing up. People were getting worried about cybercrime. You're just starting to talk about online privacy. The Matrix just gave all of that a story,
Yeah.
a look, and people connected with it.
And it's not like that's gone away, has it? Data breaches everywhere, algorithms that know what you're thinking before you do, AI getting smarter every day.
Yeah. All those themes from the Matrix, who's in control, surveillance, losing your privacy, it's more relevant now than ever.
It's enough to make you want to ditch your phone and move to a cabin in the woods, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Maybe.
Mm.
But I don't think that's really what the Matrix is saying. It's more about, like, being aware, understanding how powerful technology is, the good and the bad.
So, yeah, not unplugging completely, but being more conscious of how we're using it.
Yeah.
Picking our own red pills, I guess you could say, and not being afraid to question the system.
Exactly. That's the key questioning. That's what separates the blue pills from the red pills.
Yeah.
Taking that step to look a little deeper, not just accepting things at face value.
It's about controlling your own story. Online, offline, it doesn't matter.
And that's such a powerful idea. It goes way beyond sci-fi. Because the Matrix, it's not really just about technology, is it? It's about what it means to be human.
It's about waking up, right? Realizing you have the power to change things, even when the world feels totally crazy and out of control.
Absolutely. That's what makes it more than just a movie. It sticks with you, makes you think. And that's why, after all this time, we're still talking about it.
It's like the Matrix just threw this question at us. How much control do we really have over our lives, our choices? No wonder people still can't stop talking about it. But it's funny, right? The hacker thing. It wasn't just about being good with computers. It was a whole way of thinking.
Totally. The Matrix made hackers cool, didn't it?
Right.
They were the rebels. They could see the code, work the system in ways no one else could. It was iconic.
The gunslingers of the digital world. But you're right. It was more than that. It was about questioning everything, like really challenging authority. If you had to bend the rules, break the rules even, to get to something important, you did it.
And a lot of people coming of age with the internet, that resonated, man. It was a new world. Information was power. And if you knew how to use it, you had an edge.
Like a whole new kind of language was being spoken. And these were the poets, the storytellers.
Yeah. And the Matrix got that excitement, that feeling that anything was possible. But it didn't shy away from the dark side either, right? I mean, power can be dangerous. And the movie showed us just how dangerous technology could be if it got out of control.
Oh, for sure. Those agents, they were straight up creaky. Talk about your anxieties about surveillance and being controlled. They were it.
Absolutely. That scene where Agent Smith calls humans a virus, I still get chills.
Intense. It's like they were telling us, hey, be careful. This technology, it can be amazing, but it can also be used against you. And it's not like that's any less true today.
If anything, it's even more relevant. Think about it. We're walking around with these powerful computers in our pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're connected to the whole world, but they're tracking everything we do. Who are we calling? Where are we going? It's all right there.
It's enough to make you want to build a Faraday cage around your house.
Right. But on a lighter note, there's one more thing we have to talk about when it comes to the Matrix. The clothes.
Mm.
Those black coats, the sunglasses. They created a look, didn't they?
It was like a uniform for anyone who wanted to rebel, anyone who wanted to be part of something different.
Exactly. Those clothes were a statement. They were saying, I'm not playing by your rules. And the funny thing is, 25 years later, it still works.
Timeless, right? Maybe it's those sleek lines or that black on black look. But The Matrix proved that rebellion can look damn good.
For sure. And that's the thing about this film, isn't it? It worked on so many levels. Visually incredible, thought-provoking, and then it seeped into culture in a way few movies do.
So as we unplug from The Matrix, for now anyway, what's the message? What do we take with us?
I think The Matrix reminds us that we're not just along for the ride. We have choices to make, and those choices, they have power. The future isn't something that just happens. We build it.
It's about recognizing that power, right? The power we all have to actually shape the world we want to live in. So yeah, next time you're scrolling through your phone, remember, you've got a choice to make. Red pill or blue pill. It's up to you.